The following newly released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No.
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one: concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up. No.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly.
Hit me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck.
I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, Fred, what's wrong with it? There's no such thing as improper way. I know the law. I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration? To profile, I use a seatbelt as a reason to profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Hey, you can record for what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. Please call the supervisor. I'm going to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we're getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 and 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
Mic check, mic check. This is West Wednesday number 393. The West Coalition has been fighting alongside Tawanda Jones for justice for Tyrone West, who was killed by the Baltimore police, and for all victims of police violence. Mic check. Mic check, mic check. This is West Wednesday number 393. The West Coalition has been fighting for justice, along with Tawanda Jones, for justice for Tyrone West, who was killed by the Baltimore police, and for all victims of police violence. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. All right. Thank you, Uncle. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ben, Brother Ben. I'm sorry, I got a lot on my plate right now, but thank you so much, Brother Ben. And like he said, for 393 weeks, 2,751 days nonstop, we have been fighting for accountability, not just for my brother Tyrone West, but for all the victims of police brutality and murder. So I just want to thank you guys. We have a very interesting West Wednesday tonight. I have several special guests, but so I just wanted to let you guys know, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you guys for all the support that you sent my family, all the prayers, the thoughts, the donations, and everything. As you know, it was a sad time for my family yesterday, but we had a funeral for my cousin, Tavon Anderson, that was murdered right here in Baltimore City. No one's caught, nothing. And like I said, and I'm going to keep saying, my cousin Tyrone is too much, way too much. My mind is like all over the place. But my cousin Tavon was not, and we call him Sheeky, so I'm not even used to saying the name Tavon. But nevertheless, my cousin wasn't in any type of altercation with anyone. My cousin could literally travel around the city. Like, everyone loved my cousin. So none of this is making sense. He was a father. He was even a grandfather. Like, literally, he was a loving man. Like, everybody that knew him personally knew that he would take the shirt off of his back. And it's just really sad that now he has to be in the same space as my brother Tyrone West. And a lot of you may know my cousin, but he's been actually on the front line as many times as he could, fighting for accountability and even encouraging me on days when I didn't feel like doing this. My cousin Sheeky would be there and say, "Cuz, you can do it. I know you don't feel like it, but you're so strong and all that." Right now, I don't feel so strong. I feel at my weakest, vulnerable point right now, because it's just horrible, like, to actually, like, to be traumatized with, you know, death, like, just surrounding you. Like, literally, I remember before my cousin was murdered, I was dealing with one of my previous students, Noel, and that was so traumatized with me. I have a 6-year-old, beautiful little queen, a little princess, not even queen, a little princess, to actually die. Like, that was so hard and heartfelt. And I was literally at her balloon release, her little campflight type of thing with her family, trying to give her mother encouraging words, sharing her mother's information for you guys to support her mother. Thank you for supporting Noel. Just thank you guys so much for always being there in times of need. I know sometimes I can be a bit much by spraying different things and vent on you guys, but I just want to personally thank you for pulling in for Noel, sharing her family's information, and even the guys that went inside of their pockets to personally send off donations to Noel. And I never in my worst nightmare dreamt that literally not even a week later that I would be asking you guys for money to actually burn my loved one. Like, this is the worst nightmare. And then me going into 2021 thinking, okay, 2020 really sucked, but now I'm ready to get an opportunity to hit the reset button and give 2021 all it's got, and this is going to be a better year. And right now I'm sitting here scratching my head because I honestly don't know. Like, I literally don't know, because that just knocked me off my feet completely, knocked me down, knocked my family down. Like, literally seeing my Aunt Diane as she passed out when my brother Tyrone was hurt. when she had to go to us from seeing her as well as 3 other of my aunties pass out, and we had to actually get them together. It's beyond heartbreaking. Nobody knows this pain until it happens to their family. And right now in Baltimore City, no one is safe. Like literally, well, I'm not gonna say no one is safe because they protect whoever they want to protect. Like this is not all this street crimes and violence, and this is crazy, but it's happening in certain neighborhoods to certain people, and it's just sad. Like I heard another bus driver, well, one that was driving a mobility bus for elderly folks, he was actually gunned down. You know, it's just crazy. But the same way that they actually court suspects is still looking for one, I don't know, I haven't been really up on the case. I need that same energy for not just my cousin Tavon case, but it's a lot of cases that are still out there and it's an unknown shooter. We need that same energy for every case. Every freaking case matters. You know, so I'm just gonna leave that piece alone, but I definitely had to share. I'm gonna always on this platform right here share about my cousin as well as my brother and as well as anybody loved ones. Like this is something that's really traumatized, something needs to be done ASAP. So it's just not right. And like I told y'all, every time we have our brother read the sad list of homicides each week, I don't take no good because I'm like, that's somebody's loved one. But to actually hear your loved one on that page, you will never know that pain. I don't want you to feel that pain. I just want you to hear someone's name on that list. Just like see what way you can make a difference. See if you can call, you know, the commissioner out and say, look, you're doing a lousy ass job. Whatever, whoever we need to call out and stop these homicides. Like it's unbelievable. It's unreal. And this is daily. This should not be our daily norm. Trying to see who's going to be on tonight news or tomorrow morning news. Like this is unreal. It's crazy. It's beyond crazy. So I'm praying for my city, and it's not just a Baltimore thing. Unfortunately, it's a worldwide thing. Like it's happening in different cities, but in certain neighborhoods. That's the first clear. In certain neighborhoods, and it's always affecting Black African American people and brown people. You get what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you have a few people, and I'm not saying that Caucasian people don't get murdered, because I'll be set up here fine. Because at the end of the day, when anyone gets murdered, it is horrible. No one deserves to be murdered. But it's more of African American people getting murdered. It's more of Latino people getting murdered. You know, and then even when Caucasian folks get murdered, they always have a way to put up a big, you know, lump sum of money to look for, and they catch it. They make sure it's their business. You know what? They're going to investigate right. They're going to make sure they find out and solve that crime. They're going to make sure they bring that right family accountability. We need you to bring every family that is suffering and traumatized, not knowing how they're going to make it through the hurt and pain. That hurt and pain is so real, it can actually kill you. It literally can actually knock you off your feet. Like I feel, so I'm praying not only for my family, I'm praying for my cousin, children. He has children, he's a father. To hear his children cry and pass out, to his grandbabies cry. It's a sad time, guys, and we need to get better. So I had guests on here tonight. I have my sister that does a lot of fighting for accountability about police brutality and all issues. Right, this queen, I done stood in Prince Georgia County with her. You get what I'm saying? And she is a beast. Like when I say beast, this queen is on fire. Like she gives it to him broad dog. And then I have my brother from Ferguson, who actually bear witness Michael Brown Jr. body laying out on the ground as if Michael Brown Jr. was an animal. You leave a human being out on the street uncovered for hours. They wouldn't have did a Caucasian person like that. And it's just really sad. Like, so when, as you saw, over the weekend, I got to testify in front of the commissioners, different commissioners from around the world. I took no pride in doing it, but I was definitely glad to be a part of that, because it's important that our voices get heard. And I gave it to them the best way I can. And a big shout out to the lawyer, Miss Nana. Miss Nana jumped and she gave it to him like, oh my God, she's an amazing woman that holds it down. So a big shout out to her. Like she laid it down where, so I got caught up in my brother's case, the things that I didn't remember to say right down because my time had went out. She actually came back and was like, hold up, Miss Jones didn't mention the fact that she put up $50,000 of her own money. Like, she didn't get donations. This was her own money that she was saving up for her children. She made sure and then she also put up a very important piece. And that important piece, even more than money. Like, I can always get money. That's nothing. Like, even though, but that deep hurt, especially if I got pennies. Like, I'm a teacher. I don't make anything, right? My paycheck is firmly and lousy. But anyway, blessed to have one. But nevertheless, the fact that when my brother was murdered, during his autopsy report, they actually allowed officers and detectives and investigators to actually be in that room while she's supposed to be doing something that's transparent, a medical exam on my brother, the final one. What the hell was they in the room for? Nobody was in the room when my cousin just was murdered. You get what I'm saying? Or maybe they was. Who freaking knows? Because I wasn't even there. But to know that when my brother was killed by Officer Ruiz, who started this, Chapman, and 11 to 15 other stinking maniacs. You saw that video. That is real footage. And unfortunately, it's not a city thing. That's why I'm bringing my sister on, that definitely is out in the county, and she got a story to tell you guys. And then also, my brother, like I said, from Ferguson, he's dealing with, and he even lost his own child. He lost his own child, and that's something that I don't ever want to do. Like, no parent should have to bury their child. No parent. I don't care. No parent should never have to bury their child, especially from either a community violence or a police officer. That is horrible. So my heart goes out to everybody. Like I said, we may try to separate the issues: police brutality, homelessness, community violence, things of that nature. But guess what, baby? It's connected to the highway of health, and we need to break these chains. We need to come together with all of our issues that are actually taking us completely out, legalize genocides at all levels, and fight these issues together. You get what I'm saying? Because together we stand strong. And I'm just, after the murder of my cousin, that was just enough for me to where as though I'm not even entertaining anybody, nobody that can come around me, no more, any type of negative energy. I can't take it. I'm beyond past it. I'm past it. I'm beyond past it. And to me, somebody being around you with negative energy, just think about how contagious a yawn is. Just to think about the word yawn makes me want to yawn right now. Or you could be on the phone talking to somebody's face, and they yawn, y'all start yawning together. If that's contagious, guess what? Being negative is very contagious. Even though if you're trying to be so positive, they can come in your spirit and suck all the life out you and make you feel down and depressed. And there's nothing wrong with talking to people and trying to encourage them, but don't let it consume you. Don't let it be to the point that you are feeling so good and just that fast, all your energy is gone on to them, and now they on to the next with drama and confusion. Nobody has time for that. So just always trying to pull into people with love. But I can go on all night. I can go on and tell you guys about the 13,000 complaints that we had recently that the ACLU gave that wonderful form report. But I say wonderful because I like to put numbers out there, real numbers, so you can see it. It's unfortunately at the time that we're so I couldn't tell you, oh, Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. He's a stinking animal. But you guys got to see the numbers. You got to see that on top of him having 6, right? The video we showed with 6 victims, including my brother that we knew of. This maniac is still doing what he do, and that's terrorizing. That's exactly what he's doing. He had 18 additional complaints. So, and this week is an important time. Right now, we're trying to get rid of the Officer Bill of Rights, Leo. I actually wrote in my testimony, sent it in, submitted it, and the hearing is actually tomorrow. So we'll be getting into all this stuff tonight, but no further ado, I'm going to bring on my queen sister, Mike Check.
Mike check.
Mike check.
Mike Check.
Mike check.
Kimi, it's all yours, sweetie.
Thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you and the West Windsor Warriors for inviting me here tonight. I'm honored. I'm honored to be building with you guys. Your consistency and unapologetic way of attacking the injustices that's happening in Baltimore, I take my hat off to you. I salute you all. Queen, I offer you my condolences. My heart is with you, and my prayers as well with you and your family. My name is Kima Hutchinson Harris, and if you guys can't hear me, I'll speak louder. But my name is Kima Hutchinson Harris. I am the co-founder of Community Justice, but most importantly, I am Kevin Snead's mother, mommy, mama. I am his mom. On May 26, 2017, my son was brutally assaulted by Prince George's County officers. The level of corruption that was in his case was out of this world. You had everything. You had everything from police forging records, from him being indicted on a handgun that was found in a known corrupt officer's car by Angela Also Brooks, who at the time was state's attorney. You had him being charged with attempted murder on an officer, even though they should have been charged with that crime because they surely beat him while in handcuffs for almost 3 minutes, a 20-year-old. My son was profiled on the 26th, and it was for a broken taillight, you guys. You all know that's a work order. That's a work order. But instead, seconds later, after coming to my son's car, the officer decided to jump on my son through the window, instead of, giving him time to comply. You asked him to get out of a vehicle. You asked him to hand you paperwork, but then you immediately jump into a window to assault him because evidently he's not moving fast enough with his black skin, because these certain things don't happen to other community members in the community that is not of the same color. They have a chance to be treated they are treated like human beings in Prince George's County, but people that has our color is treated totally different, and it's starting to become it's been a problem. It's been a pandemic of its own in this country, the brutality that police officers use against black and brown people, even now children. They don't even care about our children. So I want to go on about the level of corruption in Prince George's County. When my son's trial came up almost 2 years later, the prosecutor, because she wanted to find one of his best friends who she thought would be a witness for him, who for 2 years she couldn't evidently find. And then when his mother is fighting for her life, okay? Fighting for her life, very sickly, and she eventually died. Fighting for her life in Hagerstown. Fighting for her life in Hagerstown, the prosecutor caused a mistrial to have officers go to Hagerstown to pick up that young man. One of the officers was the officer who assaulted my son. He should never be investigating his own case or picking up anybody involved in his case. But they went all the way to Hagerstown, brought that boy back, and then tried to keep him in jail, you guys, for a weekend. He did nothing wrong. He didn't have a subpoena to come to court, and he didn't have a warrant. So why ever would you ask the judge to keep him in jail for a weekend so he can make it to court on Monday? You guys, we have a level of corruption in Prince George's County that you know all too well in Baltimore. You know all too well in Baltimore. So I'm going to bring you up to May 1st, 2019, when all 12 jurors acquitted my son of all charges. With the help of the community, we won. But others are not so lucky. Others are forced to stay in jail for a year, maybe even up to 3 years before trial. What you think they're going to do, you guys? They're going to plead out. They're going to plead out. And now that's another body inside the prison being warehoused. It's all about money, it seems like, profit for these people. And they're putting them over people. And to me, they're culprits. They're culprits in death, in blood, in beatings. And until we as the people who put them in office, who actually supposed to be who they're supposed to be worrying about best interests. I mean, I don't understand why we're not holding them accountable, you guys. Every session we go through the same thing. We speak to elected officials, hoping they have our best interests in hand, and they do not. We go through this every year looking for simple bills. Simple bills that if it was really in the interest of public safety, you guys, it wouldn't be it's a no-brainer. Let's protect the people. But that's not happening. What happened, something happened January the 27th of this year in DC. What happens when you let officers continue to act in a manner where it's self-destructive? They become rogue. You can't control them anymore after that point. They're gonna do what they wanna do. And then if you continue to turn a blind eye, it's gonna eventually affect your position in office. Like, hence like what happened on January the 27th. Prince George's County officers in 4th District Police Station, which is one of our worst districts. They came over DC lines chasing a UUV which allegedly had a 14-year-old in it. The 14-year-old evidently gets out the car and run. They catch this young man a block over from where the car eventually crashes in an alley. They catch this young man a block over. They went two more blocks over to a home where a family, some were sleeping, some were up, but they had nothing to do with the UUV. They go into this home with no warrant, you guys. Take four young men out. One was 16, the rest were 18 and 19, so they were considered adults, but still. Took them out the house, roughed the 16-year up so bad that I'm like, you would think he had something to do with the crime. They take these children from their mother, because that's how she felt. These are my babies. You take them out the house, beat them, put them in a car, take them away to the woman whose car was stolen. The woman says she does not know, none of these boys had anything to do with it. So here's where the problem lies for PGPD. You went to a home that no one had anything to do with the crime you're investigating. You come over line, we need to find out if they had current jurisdiction permission before entering DC. And I'm gonna tell you, the way they play, it's 9 times out of 10 they do. They go into this home, they say a chopper seeing the guy run into the building. This building is a 4-unit building, you guys, with a solid door. Unless the helicopter got see-through walls, I mean, I'm not understanding how you go and pick and choose what apartment you're gonna go in. Out of the 4 units, they went into the first apartment. The very first apartment. No other apartment, which is more stranger than, it's just strange to me. What made all you officers, choose to go in that house where there's a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old also in the back room? You come in there with guns in your hand, busting through a door. You can't imagine the trauma that must cause a family in a home, most sleeping and some awoke. They had on the scene when I got there, because I got a call from Nene Tay from Black Lives Matter, and she had told me this was going on in DC. I need to get there, so I did. You guys, the officer that I saw on the scene when I got there was the same officer that assaulted my son, that initially profiled my son and jumped through his window. His name is Officer William Patrick Campo Bankhead. He is also the officer that you can see from Tracy Wilkins' news report on the 14-year-old outside. I have been, with the help of Community Justice, me and Community Justice, we have been going to these elected officials since 2017 about 4th District officers, okay? To know that I still have to see this man in the street, this is my 2nd time, in the street, not only traumatizes me, but to see it on video or to see it on the news traumatizes my son. It's like, when is something going to be done about these officers who continue to use force with no accountability? And I got something to tell you. It's not about the color of the officer. It's the blue blood in them. They're all blue. It's no longer just the white officers beating us. It's the black ones who have always been accustomed to beating us because of the culture, you guys. We have to stop that culture. Yeah. My thing is, I have been so, in the beginning, so quiet and more willing to work with officials, you guys, but when we as community justice kept going to them officials, every elected official, all the way up to your governor, and telling them the issues, no matter what they did, as long as they changed it, I don't care who they did, we're not looking for accolades. As long as they changed it, we continue to work with them. It was when they stopped, when the stuff started getting more egregious, and then they stopped working with us and started getting under it, that we went to the community. That's what we're going to continue to do. Now we're going to continue to go to the community and expose these officials that do nothing to keep us safe. We keep doing the things the same way all the time, you guys. We definitely need legislation. They're not going to give it to us. We need to expose the fact that they're not giving it to us. We need to let other constituents know in their jurisdiction that they're not for the people. They're not working for the people. I'm so sick and tired of talking about officials saying, if you're not in my legislative district, I don't have to talk to you. Well, guess what? I drive through it. I may work in it. I may go to my church service in your legislative district. What is the problem? A person, a human being. And I have been traumatized by your police. Why does it matter if I live in your district? It's gone on for far too long, you guys. I employ everybody who's listening to call your to write them. Forget call. We need some proof. Write them. Email them. Let them know how you feel about police brutality, about any issue you have in your community. You let them know. You let them know certain bills like Anton Law, like repealing the LEOBR, like a use of force bill that is really a use of force bill that'll keep these officers in check, not no watered down bill. We need bills that's going to keep us safe. And when these officials do not pass said bills, we need to keep a report card and hold them accountable. Speaking of that, ACLU has a great toolkit, you guys. And Ben is going to help me out here. He's going to put it in the chat, but has a great toolkit. Please go on their site, and which is very easy to navigate. You don't know your representative, you can go on there and push the 3 lines and go to your legislators and look them up. But it's important that we write our legislators, even if you didn't get your testimony in by Tuesday. Always deadlines. Even though you didn't get your testimony in by Tuesday, still write. Stay your representative, still write. Still tell them how you feel about repealing the Lear Board, or how you feel about the Anton Law. We need to know these officers are out here acting like animals. In PG, we have over 7,000 use of force complaint filed from just 2016 to 2019. That's a problem. And we got a county exec that is fighting to keep those paperworks that Michael Graham, who is a awesome, I'm not sure of his title, but I know he comes from California. He did a report on PGPD using their records, you guys, their own records, and found out so many things. And I'm also going to send that to you, Ben, once I finish talking, so you can post it if you want for people to check it out. Heavily redacted by our county. Heavily redacted. I'm not understanding, if you are the CE of a county, how do you get to not protect everyone? That's a public safety issue. We got officers out here kicking tail. One officer with over 40 excessive force complaints. What is going on? That's a problem. And so we're going to be a problem. The community members are going to be a problem, because we have to deal with that. When you beat one person, you affect their family and a community. That's a lot of people, you guys. We have to start standing up for our community members who are suffering in silence. I say, please, when you see the stuff in the chat, and hopefully it comes on Facebook too. If not, I'll post it. But I'm telling you guys, thank you, Ben. I'm telling you guys, it's important that we write our legislators and hold them accountable. We in PG, our county council does the budget. The CE approves it. 300 and something million going to the police. Again, after George Floyd, 300 million after William Green in PG. 300 million is still going to the police instead of social services, instead of things that can help the community. Team, put that money towards the team, to uplifting the team that you say is so a problem, that you see killing each other. Put something towards them. So your crime that you need all these police for can stop. But it's not about that. It's not about fixing the problem because there's no money in that. It's not about that. I'm telling you guys, write your official. I'm not even gonna keep holding y'all on because I can't go too, sister. I'm with you. Because as long as somebody's gonna listen, I'm gonna talk. And I'm gonna keep talking, you guys. I wanna build with you guys. I love what you're doing. We watching you. We support you. Community justice information. We could put that in the chat too. Did I send that to you, Ben? If not, I'll put that in the chat so you guys can stay connected. Everybody, please stay connected to us. We need your help. All right, and I'm not going to hold you guys further. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No, thank you, Queen, and I just want to let you know, like, whenever you need to drop off, because sometimes we go all the way to 8 o'clock, and sometimes even a little bit past, but if you need to drop off at any time, please feel free. But again, thank you, my Queen, for, we're together, like, sacrifice. You know what I mean? So we are together with you, you know what I mean? So that's how we try to, like, separate. We're together. Like, ever since I met you, I've been there, and I ain't going nowhere. So, thank you.
Thank you, sister.
And I'm sorry about what happened to your son. Like, I'm just glad God is giving you the strength to actually fight this fight. And you see all the corruption. So it's not even a county thing. It's a worldwide thing. It's legalized genocide. The problem can easily be fixed. Like, yeah, I'm with getting stuff from the books, but the thing that nobody wants to talk about is putting these damn killer cops in cell blocks. And I'm gonna keep shouting that till my coffin drops. And till we put them in a cell block, nothing's gonna change. We can write 3,000 bills every day. 3,000 bills a day forever is not gonna change these killer cops. But if you start holding them accountable like you do us, it's crazy that they don't know how to prosecute when it comes to these killer cops. But if you and I did something, oh, we'll never see the streets again. Never see it. We won't get a bail. And speaking of which, and I'm glad you talked about the corruption, because we're gonna have somebody here, and I got the saddest news. I think it was on yesterday, and with me being at my cousin's funeral, it knocked me off my feet even more. I got sad news that Keith Davis Jr. is now studying. Basically, he was fighting for his life, but now physically fighting for his life because of the lack. And I blame Marilyn Mosley for everything that's happening now. They didn't get him any medical treatment while he was in there at all. Left bullets in him. You wouldn't have did an animal the way you did Keith Davis Jr. You prosecuted this man and went to trial after trial, and she's still going at it. Like I said, this is the damn city that don't give a damn. If they do not, they will never say I was wrong and these killer cops was wrong. They will never admit that. They will burn you freaking alive. They can't kill you, they burn you alive. And that's exactly what they're doing to Keith Davis Jr. But somebody else that's going to be in our chat is going to give us more updates on everything. Because I got too much going on right now. But I would be remiss if I did not bring up Keith Davis Jr. Please keep him in your prayers. Keep Kelly and his wife in your prayers. Because I couldn't imagine what she's going through. Like, I done been through hell and back. Like having my cousin murdered, my brother murdered. Like, how much you think we're gonna take? How much you think we're gonna take before we snap out? I'm just being real. Before we cold snap, how much do you think we're gonna take? And I'm just gonna leave it right there. And no further ado, I'm gonna bring my brother in real quick. And sweetheart, you can definitely stay, my queen sister. And you know, we can just keep on talking because yes, as long as they listen, I'ma keep on talking. And even if they don't listen, I'ma still keep running my big mouth. Yes, I am. So anyway, moving right along to my.
Thank you, Kima.
Thank you, Kima.
Oh, you are most welcome, bro. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
So we're gonna bring on our next guest real quick, but stay right there, Kima, if you can.
I surely will.
All right, mic check.
Mic check.
Yeah.
Mic check. Mic check.
All right, brother, it's all yours.
I appreciate this time that y'all gave me to, chat with y'all. Every day in St. Louis, and that's where I'm from, St. Louis, Missouri. We go through the same thing, but I just recently lost my youngest son, who was only 17 years old, to street violence. But I don't know the difference sometimes between police killing our people or our black people killing our people, And the other day I was sitting down and I was looking at Netflix, and 13th Amendment was playing. And the point that really got me is everything is coming in a full circle. No matter what we do, we still gonna go in that full circle. Because I see it's a difference with being with our people being hung on a tree and being crucified with guns, And my son, even though he wasn't a modern student, he was always in trouble, but they didn't treat the situation like it was an urgency, They put it on the back burner. I haven't heard from them since he was murdered. And I'm, I guess they holding it against me because I'm not that citizen that they thought I was. When I know they checked my background, they checked my history or whatever. And yeah, I had run-ins with police when I was younger, but I got a feeling that just because he gave them trouble at a young age, that's what's wrong with this St. Louis system. They just kept on letting him out of juvenile, and I kept telling them to lock him up because that's the best place if he's not listening to me, if he's not listening to his mother, and he don't want to. I'm a person that I'm strict on all my kids, and his mother wasn't. And he got over on the system by being nice. And the judge asked me one day when I was standing up, I went to court for him, and the judge asked me, said, Mr. Mull, if you say that you want your son to go home, we'll let him go home with you. But if you say keep him, we're gonna keep him. Even though I hated the fact that I really wanted my son to come home. But sometimes it's better off, they are better off, trying to learn a lesson. But this juvenile system don't let them do that. The system down here is so weak, they break through. You have to get in trouble 19 times before they lock you up as a juvenile. And it hurts. It hurts. No, not a police officer helped us out. They didn't help us out. They didn't help me out at all. You'll hurt to I ask you a question, is you blow me off. And back here, a lot of police officers know who I am, and I don't. Me being at first of all, when we was in Ferguson, my group was the Peacekeepers, and like I said, I was sitting there, and a lot of emotion came back to me when I was sitting there looking at Amendment 13. All of a sudden, I seen myself on TV again. And I'm like, we did a lot of work back then. But they did not respect the work that we was doing. I knew Mike Brown. I knew him because him and my other son, was friends. You know, and the fact that they put on his name and try to bury him as a bad kid, he really wasn't. That kid was he was quiet, but he was a kid. So the way they was trying to portray him as a kid that was always into trouble, he really wasn't. And I know the situation when they showed the second filming of him being in that store, and the amount of respect that St. Louis County gave Mike Brown was really disrespectful. It was a disrespectful thing. And it was bigger, and they right, it was bigger than Mike Brown himself, because Mike Brown, that teenager, was bigger than himself. I sat there when they first started putting the tape around him, I started thinking of my own son. Even though I try to be in my kid's life and my son's life, I was sitting there thinking, I'm looking at this young man laying on the ground, and I'm thinking of my own son. And tears did run. Never to think that my son, at that age that Mike Brown was gonna die at the same age. 17 years old. My son didn't make it to make 18. So we got issues all over the board, but my biggest issue is the system in itself, as juveniles and as the court system, period. They do not give enough for us to take care of our situation with our kids. Because no matter what they do, if they go out here and steal a car and you tell them, look, why are you letting him out? That it's like a playground inside the juvenile system. It starts when they're young. You know, I tried my best to keep him out of trouble. I tried. But he didn't want to come and stay with me because I'm a very father. You're not going outside like that. So when I tried to take the hand, the judge actually changed her mind on me having him being in my custody. So, as you know, in 2002, I seen the factor of me getting out of jail and not caring that I was on probation and parole, because I seen my little bitty baby cousin at the age 15. He was just a baby and got killed by a black cop because he had a BB gun. Not even a real, it looked fake. It looked fake. It was just one of them plastic pellet guns. But they still pass off money to think that it's okay. Let's give the mama some money and wipe it clean. That was my first time fighting ever for the right of our black men, because I thought that was so wrong. And you know, even though I was on probation and parole, and the judge, and I didn't care. I thought what I was fighting for was wrong. So if I have to go in front of the judge every month, and when I did go in front of her, she wouldn't give me the opportunity to start my own business. And I was telling her, just because I was out there fighting, protesting in the streets, she felt that was wrong. And she stopped me from opening my own demolition business.
I was running before then. And then
she denied me
I didn't sit down, so I
to
go
turn in my demolition papers. So actually, they told me I hurt myself being out there protesting. I hurt myself because if I wasn't out there, I would have been able to start my own business. Nah, you still. I'm sorry, I'm gonna click back in. Tawana?
Yes.
Okay. I was making sure you heard me because my phone had rung.
Brother, can you tell everybody your name too? I'm sorry. Because you giving a lot of powerful testimony right now. Can you tell everybody your name?
Hi.
Can you tell everybody your name?
Marquise Mull. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
You're good.
Yeah.
So, the other day, St. Louis do have we got a lot of things in this city that's not right, because it's undercover racism going around here, and they make it seem like it's all good for us. But I was gonna run for mayor, not mayor, alderman, which I was thinking it would be good for me to run for mayor, but I know it, and the alderman, he's not right, because I came to him and asked him about the system and the juvenile system. That it need to be changed. The whole system need to be changed in the juvenile, because if one child goes out there and he's still caught one time, and his parent sitting there, and the child is actually more, he knows the system. He know the police ain't gonna do nothing. I stopped my son one time, and I called the police. The police came and said, "Oh, we can't do nothing, Mr. Mull, because he's a juvenile. We ain't gonna do nothing but get him down to the station and let him go." This is their words. They told they got a point system. He would have to steal 15 cars. He would have to shoot somebody or kill somebody in order for them to stop him. And they got on me because I was disciplining him. I wouldn't let him out of my car. They told me, sir, if you don't have full custody of him, he has to go with his mother. And I was trying to tell them what the judge said the first time. He needs to go with me. In order for me to save him, he needs to be with me, because I know him. I've been in his shoes. I don't want y'all to kill him. I don't want another black man to kill him, but that's what happens. Either the police gonna kill him or another person gonna kill him. Another black man killed him. And it hurts even more saying that. But I don't know what hurts more, a police killing or a black man killing. It's both bad. And that's what I'm out here now fighting for. All the, while we was on here now, I was at a balloon release while we was on here right now. My little cousin, she lost her baby at 1 month. And, I was just, out there just looking. It's all emotional to me. Losing a kid is I don't know how to. I don't know how to feel with it. I'm sorry.
Hey Marquise, we can't hear you. You might need to come back.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now. I think he's probably gonna come back in when
Okay.
it's like I can barely hear you. So if
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
So yeah, I appreciate what you doing out there. I look at you all the time, sister. And it seems like the barriers have broke down here on us going out there and really fighting for what we believe in. Because they got us all, when they came in over the amount of time and broke everybody up and they started locking us up, and for no good reasons. One of my dear friends, one of my friends was killed. The police followed him, and they just kept harassing him months and months and months and months. And they finally got to him. Burnt his car burnt him and his car while somebody else was looking. While people was looking. And the police did not investigate the whole thing because it wasn't just a burning. They shot him up and burnt him. And do you know, while we was out there at the candlelight, it was bullet shells all around that crime scene? Because they don't care. They did not come out there and investigate nothing. Not a thing. Because they wanted him dead because of the whole Ferguson thing. They took him as a threat.
Can you tell us his name? Because I know the brother you're talking about. He was a very important factor. He was the biggest activist I know of that was holding it down, shedding light. Can you please let us know his name?
Darren Seals.
Mm-hmm.
You know of him?
Yes,
yep, we heard of him.
I used to follow him.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
When I first met him and we was out there, that brother, we talked for hours and hours, and I guarantee you we didn't know each other. We didn't know each other past peanut butter and mayonnaise, And he came over to my house one night, and like I said, I stayed about, 15 feet from where Mike Brown was killed. And he came over there and over to my house, and we sat outside and we talked about what we need to do, and we did it. And one night we was coming from the police station where we was protesting all morning and all night, and both of us was like tired, and he kept telling me like he was behind me, but a car cut in front of him and was following me, and he called me and he was like, is a car just really every time you make a turn, and he don't know, I don't think he know that Darren was behind me, but the car followed me for a long time. So when I got out the car and at the gas station, and at that time one of our brothers that was live streaming, the police had stopped him. So down the street was where I was at.
They're nice.
So when the car pulled up right behind me, I got out the car and I stood on my truck, and I asked him, I said, okay, what's the problem? Who are you? And they pulled off. Me saying that is, they, at that time, I knew we had a target on our back. Everybody out there was a target. Ferguson was really bullies. They was like, they like the mob up undercover. Because everybody thought, oh, this is a suburban neighborhood behind Ferguson Police Department. But on the other side, they treated us like dirt. Darren Wilson, I personally know him from him stopping me and cursing me out, calling me all type of names in front of my kids, in front of McDonald's on West Florissant that day. I didn't know my car was registered. He stopped me for no reason. He called me niggas. I'm like, what is all this for? What is all this for? You know you wasn't supposed to be making no left turn. Huh? For real? So I just shut it. I shut my mouth, and cause I had my kids with me, you know. But we deal with this every day. I say in St. Louis, we have a murder rate, and it's either between the black man or the police department.
Now he's just one of four, wasn't he? Because wasn't it DeAndre Joshua, Darren Seals, Edward Crawford,
Yeah.
Antonio Sterling? All four of them were shot and burned in a car, and it was all ruled as a homicide, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I wrote about that as a thread on Twitter. Every time one came up, I've been writing that since let's see, go back here, back since 2018. 2016 when Darren was killed, because it just keeps happening over and over and over. I think Danye Jones too.
Yeah.
He was the one they found hanging in a tree, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's
Yep.
I think after the fourth one, it started to be like, oh, this is a pattern, and so they switched it up. That's what it seemed like.
I don't stay in Ferguson no more, but at that time it turned right. But I had a plain car travel down the street with me and follow me from Ferguson to the north side of St. Louis, and I just said enough is enough. When I pulled over and told him that I was armed, he sped off. And about 15-20 minutes after that, a police officer showed up right behind that situation. And he treated, it was a black officer. Now, mind you, I didn't let my window down, and I sat there and I said, I want y'all to know that I'm filming everything. I want y'all superior to come other than y'all, cause I know this was a setup, and whether y'all know it or not, y'all in the wrong neighborhood. And when they looked around, I pulled up. I had already texted my cousin and told them to come outside. And the detectives pulled up behind the police car. They did not call for no captain. They ain't call for no lieutenant. These was all officers. And they asked me to get out the car. I would not get out the car. And when they seen the crowd coming towards them, coming out, they got in their cars and left. Me saying that is, if we don't stand up together, when we see something and call ahead, it's not gonna be able to be one person. It's gonna have to be a community. A city come together.
That's right.
We've been doing it. We've been doing the city and the community thing, but we have to stop the killing of black on black so we can understand that they killing us because they think it's all right. They think it's all right because y'all killing each other, so we don't care. Y'all don't care. We can get away with it. But we got to be able to change that mindset. You know, Jamila and Cori Bush made me so proud when they did what they did. They got into office. We need more of that. Or to change something, we got it somewhere. And that's why I said I was gonna run for alderman. That's my first step. But the hurt that I pulled back on running for any office because of my son, I couldn't do it. I hurt so bad where people that knew me didn't understand what was going on because the police are not taking this murder as a priority. They feel that it's another kid gone, black kid gone. Okay, let it go. And guess he was murdered in the county. He was murdered about 10 miles from Ferguson. It's called Bell Fountain Police Department. They not no different from, they the same as Ferguson. We're gonna say that. They the same as Ferguson. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to fight too. I just gotta find that strength right now, you know, because being emotional out there is not gonna help nobody, you know.
Well, my brother, I just want to let you know that I love you, and I'm so sorry that happened to your son. And with the way my mind thinks, and I'm not even a conspiracy theory, but I'm just on, like, when we see something, we need to call it out. First of all, like, you know, I believe in, like, community violence, but I won't dare call it black on black, because we know, my brother, that all races kill each other. And to me, most of the serial killers are white people. Let's be crystal clear. Let's be crystal clear. Crystal clear, right? Most of them that go shoot up schools, the terrorists, they white people. They don't call that white on white crime, so I won't dare call it black on black crime. That's another way for them to put us in a box and say I don't like them men. And as you can see, I remember when I heard you say that one judge had the nerve to tell you, oh, well, you shouldn't have been out there protesting. That was the strongest thing that you did. That's why they're mad. That's why these activists keep getting killed, burnt up. That's why they mad, because they may have the weapons, but we got the goddamn voices. And if they can't pay us off, give us that bread and we don't walk away, they will kill you or bury you alive, plant charges with you. You get what I'm saying? So we just have to stay strong, know their damn game and the difference between community violence and them. Just like you see, they get clear away with bloody murder. Because guess what? They policing them damn self. They the one that come around, put the yellow tape up. You get what I'm saying? They seal off, they hide what they want to hide, show what they want to show. We at war. Forget about it. We at war with them. Let's be crystal clear. Call a damn spade a spade. And these people are so freaking sick. I think that when you said you called, that was the smartest thing you did, was call somebody and say, you know what, I don't feel right, come out here, they out here. Because they was going to kill you that day. Let's be crystal clear. They was going to kill you. You might have been like your homeboy. You get what I'm saying? You might have been burnt up. And they do it so cruddy to send that mess. They the worst game in America, okay? Because they get away with their mob hit. You get what I'm saying? They could kill us and get slammed away with it. And you was the biggest voice when Michael Brown Jr. first was murdered. Because I remember, and it hit me back. I'm like, you know what? I remember I had you, even though you wasn't in the virtual time. But I remember I got you to actually call in, and I had put the mic up to your voice on West Wednesday, and we were talking about Michael Brown, because we was doing something in Baltimore about it. But I actually,
I remember that.
You called me? I said, call my phone, brother, and I told them who you was, and I let you speak. But I said all that to say they want to kill your voice. So what they'll do, these bastards will go after your kids, your cousins. That's why I'm on it. Until I find a black person that murdered my freaking cousin, I don't give a damn who it was. If it was a black person, an Asian, they going to act down. You better believe that. You better believe it. The same way they going to go down for Tyrone West. I don't give a damn how many years, but it's sad because when they kill us, we know who and how they are, we know what they did, and it ain't a damn thing to do. We gotta fight like hell, we gotta get petitions, we gotta do all type of foolishness. We don't even get a day in the courtroom. You get what I'm saying? It's bullcrap. It's the dog and goddamn pony show. But then when somebody community violence, somebody kill you, got a witness, somebody strong enough to be like, oh, you know, so-and-so did that. That person put away. You ain't gotta worry about it anymore. You get what I'm saying? That's the big difference. They get that like they are a mob. They are a mob. They get away with their hits, their murders, their robberies, whatever they want to do, they can do it. And they do certain things by harming our family members to mess our mind up. Literally, my mind was going, I don't even know, like, I'm not an investigator. I don't know who killed my cousin, but it's just freaking me out the day that the ACLU put out this big report about one of the murderers that murdered my brother, right? I'm on 11 o'clock news, and an hour and a half later, my cousin gunned down, wasn't doing any goddamn thing. I'm looking at everybody. Everybody's a goddamn suspect. Everybody. Every single body. Until I find out what happened, everybody in that whole goddamn community, everybody in Baltimore City, including these dirty ass police officers. Everybody is suspect. And I mean that with my heart. So I said that I'm so sorry that happened. And did they ever find out who did that? Who this time did they ever catch the killer? Marquise, did they ever catch the killer?
No, they didn't even catch him.
See? And I think it's one of their asses. Excuse my language. They dirty. And that's why they want to do this black on black. You guys stop killing each other. They dirty. They the first ones I'm looking at. And after I eliminate them bastards, then I start looking at these MFers in the community. I'm just being real. Because they know how strong you was. And what way to break somebody more? Like, you was really out there, like, I mean, giving it to them. And then you say you was running for office to really change things. And this is sad. Like, I even feel like even if I was to, like, run and get to office, these guys, it's a dog and damn pony show. They're going to keep watering stuff down. But until they hold people accountable, we can do this all day long. I could talk. I could do $3 billion. West Wednesday, I can go to Annapolis and spend a night every session and make them change. But this stuff gonna keep happening. It's simple. Lock their asses up the same way they do us, and let's take it from there. You get what I'm saying? And then why wouldn't they solve crime? And then the crazy part, how the system works. And I heard what you said, like how they not hard on some people. They play this game like that's why that scale, the scales of justice is unbalanced. Because in your case, you got a damn black father that say, you know what, give me my son. My son need help. Keep him there a little bit longer. They're like, oh no, they want to keep playing. They ain't give a damn. You get what I'm saying? But then I think about the young man that they kept in jail over a damn book that you put that he got out and then they claimed that he killed himself. I still don't believe that. I still don't believe Khalid killed himself. I still don't believe that. Like he was fighting, he was making documentaries, now all of a sudden he hung himself. It's sort of like the damn Sandra Bland. She was a strong black queen fighting, giving it to him. You pull over for a traffic ticket and now she end up in goddamn jail, dead, hanging. She hung herself. Get out of here. These people we're dealing with demons. Demons, like real demons. Like hell is empty, like my sister said, because all of them are right here, running the world, moving things. And then the crazy part, they make us look like we cold and nuts, cold crazy. But anybody knows Tawanda Jones do not do drugs at all. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I got a clear mind. I'm talking from a clear mind. Okay, I might be traumatized, but who the hell would? Your brother get beaten broad daylight by 11 or 15 stinking animals, and you've been fighting week after week after week, and then a goddamn thing changed. It's the dog and pony show. You feel me? You might get a little high, you might get to go to the bills, but the real reality, them damn killer cops, I'm still walking the beat with them. They get promotion. They kill us. They laugh at us. They party together. After they murder us, they party together. It's legalized genocide. They killing us on every avenue, every frame, every time, and every chance they get. You know what I mean? They'll let us, go in the community. They'll let all this community violence happen. Like Baltimore's the Wild Wild West. And instead of them holding people accountable for these murders, these unsolved murders, no, you rather wait till one gang kills the other one, or the next people, to go get retaliation, when you can easily solve it by locking somebody up. And the first person they need to start with is their damn self. That's just my opinion, but I love you, brother. And how can we reach you and how can we support you?
You can always find me on Facebook, Instagram at Marquise Spade Mall, Instagram on Marquise Mall, and email, always email me, marquisemall@gmail.com. I'm just out here just trying to build for my kids right now and grandkids, trying to support them more and more because they hurting. That was their only brother, other than, the one that I adopted. But at the end of the day was my son was 17 years old and he was changing his life. I wrote a movie that I started back up. The reason why I stopped the movie because the movie was called Challenge to Change. And it was about more of my life, that the things that I changed, that it become a challenge. The challenges of life is these, when I was like 13 years old, I was in the streets and these detectives pulled me over. I didn't know too much about selling drugs, which at 13, 14 years old, I was selling drugs. Now, back then, the police you thought was gonna, lock you up, take you to juvenile, tear your mother on you. That was something that you hated for them to do, but they didn't do it. I'm gonna tell you what these police officers, these detectives did. They took my drugs and slammed my face in the snow and kicked me. Both of them. I was 14 years old. They kicked me, just with my face in the snow on in the streets. And I was just traumatized by that moment. They took my dope and the money and left me there. I mean, if you probably would have took me home and told my mama on me, life probably would have been different. It probably would have been different for me. But my state of mind as a 14-year-old then was hate the cops. Hate them. The next time y'all see me, y'all gonna have to catch me. And that continued through the years. It built up because you start seeing as life progressed that they was doing the same thing. They didn't care. 4 of my friends was killed by police officers, and I wasn't even at the age 17, and it was kind of like this was an everyday thing, and then nobody cared. Wasn't nobody talking about it then. Nobody. We started talking about it later on in life when I was a grown up. But my friends was killed when I was 14, 15 years old by a cop. And for to be tied up and left on a light pole, like, wow, you know? I seen my friend tied up on a light pole, was gunned down. That, like I said, the mentality of a black youth was really, man, people don't understand. They don't understand.
Marquise, my name's Bill. I think you and I might have crossed paths. I came out to Ferguson around the time when the grand jury said they were not going to prosecute that cop that killed Mike Brown, and it was around Thanksgiving, and there were a couple of events there. I think we may have met. My name's Bill. I wanted to comment on the question you raised. You talked about what connection is there between the police killings and the community violence. And, you know, back when the Black Panther Party existed, they used to encourage their members to read for 2 hours a day. And one of the writers that they wanted people to read the most was a guy named Frantz Fanon. And Frantz Fanon wrote this book called Wretched of the Earth. And one of the points he makes in Wretched of the Earth is that if you take a part of the population and you treat them with the most brutality, the most unemployment, the worst education, the worst housing, and so on and so on, you slap people in the face every which way, that the result of that is going to be a lot of anger and bitterness. And he was describing the treatment of black folks in one of the northern African countries, but of course it's relevant here as well. And he says when people develop that kind of anger and bitterness, but don't yet have political consciousness, don't yet really understand why it's happening and what the real source of the problem is, they lash out. Anger and bitterness causes people to lash out, often at a close, vulnerable target, somebody in the same boat. And so he essentially argued that the root of community violence is that process, that racism is the cause of that. Because racism is what treats a certain section of our population so horribly. And of course, police murder also has as its root racism. So I would argue that police killing and community killing are really two sides of the same coin. Both of them are rooted in racism. We get rid of racism one day, we're gonna solve both of those problems.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I can understand exactly what that situation, with my situation, and you know, like I don't stay in the suburbs, you know. I stay in a place where I'm still crawling to make it, you know. If I wasn't out there protesting, I was working. You know, I had my own business at an early age. You know, you lose a lot of sleep, but I love losing that sleep because I felt being out there, I was helping, and I was making the respect that I was gaining from my kids. You know, they seen me fighting for something. You know, when I first met Tawana, and I seen the fire her when she was, it was like, wow, you know. And I do remember, I definitely, and it made me, believe it or not, it made me fight even more when you put me on that speaker that day. And I heard the crowd in the background, and that just made me fight even harder. You know, while we was out there, and I seen so much of what the police was doing behind the scene. You know, they told us, oh, y'all can protest, but y'all can't get in the streets. That day, I remember, I'm sitting here, you know, me and my cousin, and we sit in this room right where I'm sitting at now, and we look at the TV. And this is what I was looking at when I was looking at 13, and I seen that, and a chill came over me like, wow, we really was back there doing that. We would not shut it down unless somebody said, hey, time to go to sleep, and we never did. It was no sleep in Ferguson, none.
Hey, brother, you remember hey, brother, I don't mean to cut you off. You remember when I came down to Ferguson and I met you in person? Like, I ain't get no sleep that night. You took me to the police station, and we shut it down everywhere. I still remember that. The night on Friday, me and you in front of the police department, we had on that all white, we was out there.
Yeah. Of course, I would never forget that. It was so much love when you came down here. That's why I say I love you, sister. I love you. You came down, and there was support. You know, there was support. And like I told you from that day on, if you needed me, I'll just say the word, and I will come. I will come. I see. I got daughters that, you know, when they showed me my son, when he seen me on TV, and it was like he couldn't get off the phone. Daddy, I just saw you on TV. I said, what? You see me on the man on TV? I said, you want to go out there? Daddy, can I go? Of course you can go, cause we fighting for you and your future. And that made me feel good, because he wanted to see what was out there. He wanted to see, and I know everybody say, oh, you put your son in danger, you put your kids in danger. No, I really didn't. They was protected. God had our back regardless. And he knew what we was fighting for was good.
I definitely want to thank you, because that reminds me of my brother Ben. It done been lots of time, brother Ben, and that's why I got a great level of respect for him, because he actually brought his kids, his young children, to our protests. You get what I'm saying? And then I love when his son get on the mic, and his daughter even got on, but it was something about when his son got on that mic as a young, you know what I mean, guy, to say, you know, I see how why he picked up on why in the world every time you speak, the same ambulance keep riding past here, like we on 33rd Greenmount. They started riding around circles, making a bunch of noise, like, and laughing at us. I'm like, a kid picked up on this. So don't feel bad. That's teaching our children. You get what I'm saying? So definitely.
Right. I appreciate coming on here and meeting y'all. It brings, I think everything's for a reason. Like I said, I woke up that day and we came in here and looked. that, cannot give up, because if you give up, they win. They win.
That's right.
And I would not give up. And that's why when I see you every day, it's like when I know
I think his connection dropped out.
Oh, okay.
I know you still mine's dropped out?
Oh yeah, you had dropped off. We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying when I look at you and you continue to do your fight, it's always an uplifting thing when I show my daughter that you doing what you're doing out there.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to thank you. And yes, if you like to hold on, we're going to definitely keep everything moving real quick. So I wanted to bring up Abby next because is Abby still on? Mic check.
Mic check. I'm here, Tawana. Thank you.
Mic check.
Everybody hearing me okay?
Yes.
All right. Well, I first want to say thank you to everybody who shared their story tonight, and to Wanda Marquise, I'm so deeply sorry for your losses, and Kima for everything that you've been through, and just thank you for sharing with us. I wanted to speak to, there's so many choices, so many bills that are going in right now. One that I don't think has gotten very much attention sort of snuck up on everybody, and that's repeal of the authorization for the Johns Hopkins Police Force. And so we're trying to solve all these problems, tweak all these ways that the police forces work, and we have an opportunity to stop one before it starts here in the heart of Baltimore City, in the Central City in the Homewood area, and in East Baltimore around the medical campus, and in Mount Vernon around Peabody. All those areas they would have jurisdiction in through this private police force that they got authorization to start but haven't started yet. So there's bills in now to take that authorization away from them. They are HB 336, which has a hearing on Friday the 12th of next week. So testimony is going to be due on Wednesday of next week, and SB 276, and the hearing for that already came and went. But what I'm hearing on those is that, the hearing is one thing, but it has to be brought to a vote. So the pressure that's needed right now is for people to reach out to their representatives, particularly Corey McCray, and also the name I heard today in relation to it was Brooke Learman for some reason. She's down in the 46th district, and I wouldn't have thought that she had anything to do with it, but I'm just passing that on. But I know in particular Corey McCray in the 43rd district in Northeast needs pressure on it. So now is a really important time to push on that. And Tawanda, I know you were there for the sit-in and for the fight through all that, and so you saw firsthand that Hopkins can't be trusted with the police force, the way they treat community members, the way they treat their own students already. And I've only learned more and more stories since then. I had a friend, and they said I could share this story anonymously. They're not ready to share it publicly yet, but they were on their own street, in the neighborhoods around the Homewood campus, late at night, walking home, saw a sheriff in a Hopkins, with a Hopkins security car next to him, but not one of those hop cops, with the vest on and a walkie-talkie, but no gun. He was fully strapped, and he was hassling an older black man. So my friend took out their phone and apparently was asking this older man, what are you doing here, And my friend started filming and said, hey, you don't have to answer him. And then he started harassing my friends and said, if you don't get that phone out of my face, and they kept filming him. And next thing they knew, they were on the ground. He was standing over them, and he knocked them down and beat them around a little bit. And then, so he told, some other officers came, and he told them that my friends had poked him. And they started mocking him. These BPD officers started mocking this sheriff who was doing work for Hopkins on his off time, and started poking each other oh, you gonna arrest me? Oh. And then he put in the police report that my friend had grabbed his arm. And meanwhile, my friend eventually got their phone back and has it on camera that none of those things happened. So they've got a real strong case against this guy. But these are the people, you know, that they're trying to expand out into the neighborhoods and to push black students off the campus, to make students of color feel like it's not a place that they can be. So yeah, there's, you know, I don't know if it's the most important bill right now. I think Leo Bor and local control of the Baltimore City Police, use of force policy, getting cops out of schools, the Counselors Not Cops Act that would take the $10 million that the state of Maryland spends on school police right now and put that into counselors and nurses and psychiatrists and community school coordinators, things that actually help people. Instead, that's a hugely important bill. The Maryland Trust Act to stop police cooperation with ICE, incredibly important. But yeah, I could go on and on about these bills, but I wanted to lift up that one in particular and reiterate the, you know, love and light to Keith Davis Jr. right now, who's fighting for his life. And I know many of you all know this story, but in short, he was mistaken by the police for a robber. The guy who had suffered the robbery said on the stand that wasn't him, completely different looking guy, but they ended up chasing him, cornered him in a garage, shot at him dozens of times, shot him in the neck, and then framed him for an unrelated murder. Said they found a gun on him that had never been fired, that had no gun residue in it, that was last connected to a pawn shop run by a former cop, but they said they found this gun on him and then connected it to this murder the night before, trying to bury him alive. Like you were saying, Tawanda, except that they don't want him to live. And Marilyn Mosby blocked his treatment. You know, he was shot in the neck, and she blocked him from getting medical treatment. And now, 6 years later, he's in prison. Well, he's in the hospital, you know, taken out of the prison into the hospital, fighting for his life with internal bleeding that they can't figure out what it is, trying to block his wife, Kelly, from getting information about what's going on. So if you know, go on her page to follow for information. She put out today a call for a phone blitz to try to get information on his condition, and she finally did get that, but there may be other advocacy that's needed. So I love you all. Thank you for creating this space, Tawanda. That's what I got to say tonight.
And thank you so much for sharing. And again, definitely, everybody, you know, if you can, connect with Kelly Davis, Keith Davis Jr. White, and, you know, see how we can advocate on behalf of him. And this is just really a sad time. And then also, definitely, we need to block at private policing, because if anybody knows, one of the officers from Morgan University, private police, that actually finished my brother off. Hey, nothing to do with anything. Instead of him trying to come and say, you know what, enough is enough. Like, David Lewis might have saved my brother's life if he would have just went to action and told those animals to stop. But he was the biggest animal. He was right there with, all of them was animals. Each and every last one of them that laid a finger, pulled the dreadlock, threw a haymaker, hit him with a baton, sprayed him. All y'all going down. Look at my face, y'all going down. I don't give a damn how long it takes. But with him being a private police officer from Morgan State University, he was so hard up to kill one unarmed man that he crashed into the David Lewis crashed into Ruiz's car, his unmarked car, and basically, as my brother was dying, he put his 320-pound weight on a man that's dying face down, gasping for air, and finished him off. And so if you think we need private police, you're just as sick as David Lewis and the rest of us killer sick and maniacs. So I think we're gonna move on. So do we have our brother Brian with that horrible sad list?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Twanda.
Okay. Okay, before I bring you on, I just want to share this picture of my cousin Tavon Anderson and his handsome son. We need answers, guys. I want to know who murdered Tavon Anderson. I'm not going to rest until I get accountability for my cousin Tavon Anderson. He was gunned down on Chester Street. He was one of the names, unfortunately, that we write off before we got the list, and we write his name on there last week. So as we hear these names, if you have a list or don't, because sometimes it don't catch up, but we know folks in Baltimore City are people, human beings are getting murdered each and every single day. Sometimes double digits, different things, women, children, nobody's safe in Baltimore City. I just want you to look at this picture, and I'll say before you start, we're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being sick in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our freaking lives matter. And I want accountability all the way in Ferguson for my brother on his son. What's your son's name real quick? Say his name.
DeAndre Chapman.
Can we all say DeAndre Chapman?
DeAndre Chapman.
We need accountability for him. Because I don't care where you live at, folks know each other. And if you know something, say something. We need accountability for him. We need accountability for my beautiful sister Nicole that's on here. Her baby was murdered. Literally after her father-in-law, Anthony Anderson, was murdered. So I'm lifting her baby name up too. Is she still in? Can we lift her baby name up?
Yes,
I'm still here.
Yes, can you say your daughter's name, please?
Ajay Harad.
Can we say Ajay Harad?
Ajay
Harad.
Yeah. Thank you, Queen. And go ahead with your sadness, Brian. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I apologize.
No problem. I want to take up the what Abby has said and what we say every week, and I want to thank you, Twanda, for having us here, and everyone who shared their struggles. I really hope that I know it gives me strength to hear these things that people manage to bear up under these horrible things. It gives me strength to go on with this sort of work. So I want to thank you for having us here with you, and thank you for sharing. I wanted to say in relation to what Marquez said, he was talking about how difficult it is, when these kids are juvenile and the cops won't touch them for this and won't touch them for that, and they won't give them any penalties or won't bother to arrest them. And then as soon as you get to, as soon as they're adults, it's like huge sentences and they're off in jail and they're, they don't come out for 10, 30 years. And it occurred to me that the system doesn't make any money off of juveniles. If they lock the juveniles up, they can't make them work. Well, they can't sell their labor to people to manufacture chairs or underwear or whatever it is that they or grow potatoes or whatever happens at that particular prison. But once they're an adult, then they're a source of income. And so maybe that's the difference that we need to look at in this situation. So I'm going with Uncle Bill here. I think it's all capitalism. But regardless of that, I do have the list for today. For the past week here in Baltimore, again, we've lost 7 people to violence in this community, and I ask you to lift up their names and hold them and their families in your prayers, in your heart, in your mind, and just send whatever strength you can out to them. So if you just might check their names back to me. Kenneth Gerstley, 58.
Kenneth Gerstley, 58.
Kenneth Gerstley, 58.
Frankie Duckett, 49.
Frankie Duckett, 49.
Frankie Duckett, 49.
Kevin Wallace, 32.
Kevin Wallace,
Kevin
32.
Wallace, 32.
Wallace, 32.
Reginald Taylor, 47.
Reginald Taylor, 47.
Reginald Taylor, 47.
Daryl Oliver, 55.
Daryl Oliver, 55.
Daryl Oliver, 55.
Andrew Johnson, 30.
Andrew Johnson, 30.
Johnson, 30.
30.
Angela Baldwin, 28.
Angela Baldwin, 28.
Angela Baldwin,
38.
38.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I want those names to resonate in your soul. That is someone's family that's going to have to go through forever suffering. The day that they were murdered marks a day that they will never, ever forget. A day that changed their life totally forever. I just want you guys to keep in mind, God forbid, if it was one of your loved ones on a list, a homicide list, a statistic list, where the media don't give a damn, and people don't give a damn, they're just speaking off your loved one name. But the pain hit different when it's actually your loved one. And it shouldn't be that way. Let's feel the pain as these families mourn their loved ones. Literally, like I had, I'm sorry, one of my parents, her nephew was murdered. And his girlfriend was murdered. They called them the teen lovers. This was last year. But they were actually gunned down. Nobody caught. Gunned down. Beautiful couple. And I believe they were sitting in the damn car. Murdered. Nobody caught. And this young teenager, sorry I can't remember his name, but he was in the army and everything. It's horrible. Don't wait till your loved one is on that horrible list. Do something now. The time is now for us to push up on Lottie Dottie and everybody and tell them, look, we need to change this quote. If that means fine this commissioner, because why is he still working and the crime rates are still going up sky high? Like literally, people keep failing us, but they're being rewarded. Something needs to be done. If you're not doing your job, we go to work and we sit down and we're not doing our job, you already know what's going to happen. They're going to let us go with no problem and replace us easy. All we asking everybody to do is their job. So I just want you to know, let those names, marinate in the spirit and know that that's someone loved one. You don't know if they got to find money to bury their loved one. You don't know the pain that's associated with that, and you don't want to know. And Uncle Bill, do you have that horrible police brutality list?
Yes, I do. So these are the names of people who've been killed by the police around the United States. The most recent names of people that we have, and I'd like to honor and uplift their names now. First, from Texas, Ryan Stallings.
Ryan Stallings.
He was killed by the police on January 21st. Second, killed by the police in California, 27 years old, David Tovar.
David
Tovar.
Killed by the police in Kentucky, also on January 21st, 34 years old, Brian Abbott.
Brian
Abbott. On the 22nd of January, a homeless man killed by the police in Florida. He was, they don't have his age, I'm sorry. Stephen Verdone. On the 24th of January, in Texas again, 38 years old, Tyree Rogers.
Tyree Rogers.
In Louisiana, 43 years old on January 24th, Caleb McCree.
Caleb McCree.
And those are all the names that I have. As we know, on the average around the United States, the police kill 3 people a day, about 1,100 a year. And the site that we're using now is from the Washington Post. Unfortunately, they don't document every case, but at least we've been able to uplift the names of some of those recently killed by police.
Thank you, Uncle Bill. And again, that's somebody, loved one, family member. And it's just sad, but I want to let you know how dirty this system is. Because you remember, the last time Uncle Bill had a website page, they gave us the names like clockwork, even though it's sad, but gave us all these names literally. And I think the last time we read off almost 40 something, I'm sitting there damn near 10 minutes, we calling off names and my heart is breaking, I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God. And after he read that last list, they you know what? They on to us. Let's just slow it down. And now you can't even pull up. That's just the grim reality. it is what it is. But I just think that stuff is very interesting. The closer you dig and try to open up the Pandora box, it just closes, right? Just like that. Like, oh, well, I can't get information from this web page. But at first, I was reading up names, random names daily. Like every time we did West Lansing. But then that time when it was like, oh my God, 46 names within like a week or maybe 2 weeks. But that's a whole lot of names. And as soon as those names got out there, bang, that whole website slowed down. So I just want to let y'all know, keep your eye out for that type of stuff. But like literally for time's sake, we were supposed to have another guest, and I think he was having problems with downloading the Zixi app, and every time I said that we wasn't able to get him, but I'm definitely gonna bring him back here definitely next week. We know him as Hobo, but his name is Webster. We call him back LATV. He did a lot of work for me as far as like putting my pictures up. He does a lot of major graphic art work, and he's amazing. But I just want to give him a shout out. I want to ask y'all to keep him in prayers, because literally for now going on almost a year, he got laid off because of the pandemic, and unfortunately he's been trying to get his unemployment benefits that he qualified. He got one letter saying, oh, you qualify for these benefits. But just imagine, you get one letter and that's it. And every time you call unemployment, then he even reached out to me to make the connection, and I connected him to like different local reporters who basically said, well, okay, we're gonna push up for some of our politicians, not call them, but politicians and whatnot, and give them the information, and still nothing from unemployment, to the point that it made him homeless. Like he's literally homeless, like, and imagine being homeless on a cold night. I don't know if y'all been outside today. I need y'all to step outside your door right now. It is cold as I don't know what. I wouldn't wish that type of cold air on anyone outside. Just imagine somebody being homeless, just laying outside. Like literally, it's real. It can happen. You don't think that we all ain't a paycheck or two away from being homeless? Like it's real. But for the system to fail him in such a way to not give you benefits that you deserve, that's your money. You worked hard for it. You got laid off. You didn't just like quit your job. You got laid off and you qualified for a benefit. But meanwhile, they're letting people that basically make up stuff fraud. They were getting checks, lottie-dottie, and everybody was getting compensated. Besides a man and me, literally, just imagine you waking up like, I don't know what I'm gonna eat this morning, bro. I don't know where I'm gonna rest my head. And I'm going pillow to post. So we need to keep our brother up in prayer. And I will actually bring him on to see which way we can support him. But I'll definitely be in contact with him, and he will definitely be on one of our upcoming West Lansing. I'm right there with him. Let's open up the damn tent right in front of the unemployment building. Let them see where he's sleeping at. Let's bring attention, because that, and the sad part, it don't stop at our brother. It don't stop in him. There's many people that are really affected by this pandemic, right? And they don't know if they're gonna make it out of alive. They don't know anything. We don't know anything. It's just so sad. We're in the same time frame. So before we wrap up, first of all, before we wrap up, I want to give all of our special guests, our king and our queen, a big special guest shout. And I want to ask them, do they want to make a final closing comment? And then I also wanted to ask, my queen, Nicole, and she want to make a quick comment for time's sake before we wrap up, and anybody else before we wrap up and close out. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Well, let me just point out one thing. I just want to mention I was a little bit late coming into West Wednesday this evening because the teachers union in Baltimore had a huge protest. They had large numbers of cars, so many jammed up under the Jones Falls Expressway. It took 45 minutes to even start moving out of there for the caravan up to the Board of Education. And the demand is that they don't open the schools until the teachers, cafeteria workers, all the staff have had their injections for COVID, those that want them, and until they put proper ventilation and filters in the classroom so people aren't coming down with COVID unnecessarily. A very big protest, and I just wanted to mention that. And thanks to all the guests. And Tawana, when you speak to Hobo, please ask him if there's anything I can do to help. I'd like to do that.
Okay, definitely. I appreciate that. And again, like I said, I'm gonna bring the brother on so that way he can share and help, share his information so that way if any which way you can support him. If there's no more than us putting together like a food package or making calls to different people to see why this man can't get his benefits. He's been crying, literally crying for a whole year. And I thought that once I put him with certain people, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to backslide and chop on him. And I thought, okay, my brother must have got took me up and he hit me up today and the bro said nothing has checked in, not one penny from unemployment. And I remember during this quarantine, I was actually laid off for 3 months. I opted out because it was when the pandemic first hit, they didn't know what to do. I'm wearing a mask, people were laughing at me on my job. Now everybody's stuffing a goddamn mask. So I said all that to say, it's real. And I just couldn't imagine. And even when I opted out, I didn't even know that I was going to get unemployment benefits. And thank God, to us being a family, like Hillary, just like hit me off the top, like, go get your family some groceries. I'm like, oh my God. And then Uncle Bill offered to do things like, give me a little grocery. And that is love, like being there for one another. Like, a closed mouth don't get fed. So I just thank you guys for each and every time that we have actually helped each other. You guys supported me. People that I know, I just can't thank you guys enough. So before we wrap out, do anybody else, last call, do anybody else want to make final closing comment or have a question or anything? Want to share anything?
Yes, I wanted to share real quick. I know how it feels to be homeless because I was homeless when I met my husband. Well, I call him Dream, but his name is Marcus Pettiford. I had got put out of my home. I had nowhere to go. I'm not from Baltimore, so I didn't have any family. My husband literally went homeless with me, and he had somewhere to lay his head. But he laid out on the street with me until I met a lady, and she knew somebody who got me into a program. And they put me in a hotel for a couple of months, and then they got me an apartment. And once they got the apartment for me, they paid my rent for the first 3 months that I was there, and then everything was on me. And that's how me and my husband basically first met, with him going homeless with me. We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, we're not family or anything, but he saw that I was a good friend to him, and we hit it off, and he decided to leave his home to make sure I was safe. And I consider him as a good man. I thank God for him every day. That, now we've been together for 14 years. We've been married for 4 years now. And that's just a heartfelt story for me in my testimony on some of the things that people don't understand, what people go through on a daily basis. Just because you see a person walking around and they got a smile on their face, or they just look like they're uplifted and they're happy all the time, you don't know their story. You don't know what they've been through and what they're going through at that particular moment. So I try not to get down or to make fun of people or try to make myself feel like I'm high and mighty and better than people, because I've been there. I've been at the bottom, and through the grace of God and people like y'all that have been in my life and have come into my life as my family now and has been there to support me, not only physically and mentally, but you've also supported me financially too. And my queen Tawanda knows that, because when we went to Minnesota, I didn't have money to even buy an outfit for the march. She sent me money so that I could get an outfit, so that I could be a part of what she brought me in on. And for that, I'm always going to be grateful. I'm always going to love her. She's always going to be my sister, regardless. We may not be sisters by blood, but we are sisters for the rest of our lives, no matter what. And I'm always going to take my hat off to you, Tawanda, because you are a stronger woman than a lot of people know. And for you to go through the things that you go through, and you still can hold your head up, and you still can step your step, and walk your walk, and put your beautiful makeup on, and comb your hair, and go to your job, and still host something like this, and help uplift other families like me, who are down and out, who are struggling, who is hurting because they lost their loved ones because of all this craziness and nonsense. My God, I hope one day I can be like you when I grow up.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And I love you, Queen, and you made me love you even more. And that is a real touchy but beautiful story. Like, that was like, he's really your soulmate. Like, that's love. Like, you said he left his house to be in a situation that he didn't have to do. That's love. You better not never ever leave him to death, deep pub, yawn the grave, and some more. Even when we come back in the next lifetime, you got you forever. So I just want to thank you for sharing.
Nicole, I'm sorry, Swanda.
Yes.
Charlene just wrote a note on Facebook, said, thank you for sharing your story, Nicole.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, I'm sorry. I wanted to say one more thing, and that's that this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, is a Baltimore ceasefire weekend. And so they're going to have walks and events all throughout that. If people want to check that out, it's a really powerful movement.
Can I say one last thing?
Sure, absolutely, please.
I want to uplift the organizations within community justice that we're partnered with. I want to uplift the Talking Drum Inc., which is Beverly John's organization that's geared to helping community members with resources, even the homeless. She do great work for the homeless, for like group homes. She's really awesome in that work. I want to uplift the Just Us Initiative. That's co-founder Don Dalton, Lupe Hawkins, and Tella Hawkins. Oh my goodness, they're doing a wonderful work as far as the people who are dealing with trauma from the brutality that they deal with and losing a loved one. I want to uplift Heels On, Gloves Off. No, Heels Off, Gloves On. It's called HOGO, and it's a organization that my sister Tamara McKinney is co-founder of, and they're doing some excellent work as far as the boxing for the youth, and they also do some work in the community. Uncut Live Productions with Kenneth Clark. You guys may know him. He's a young Malcolm X. Okay, he's in PG doing some trailblazing work. I want to uplift my brother Jonathan Hutto from Prince George's County Coalition. He's trying to do something different, trying to bring us all together in a strange way, but it's gonna work. You hear me? He's doing monthly meetings every month. So please check out his page on Jonathan Wesley Hutto on Facebook, or Prince George's County People's Coalition page. Check it out and get involved. If you want to get involved with any organization that I said that was under community justice, please, I left the contact information in Ben's, under Ben's West Wednesday's post, excuse me, you guys. And please get in touch. We need power. Power is in the people. Okay? So let's stay connected, you guys. And call me if you need me. I'll pull up. We'll pull up. Community justice pulls up. Call me.
Tawana, I'd like to thank you and everybody for bringing me on today. And I'm glad to just be here. I appreciate everything everybody is doing. And I love y'all. I gotta get to work now.
All right, we love you too, my brother. We definitely about to ramp up. Thank you so much. You know, I'm a phone call away. You can call me anytime, my brother. Anytime you need to cry, talk, whatever. Definitely enjoy that beautiful grandbaby of yours too. So thank you so much. Thank each and every last one of you for time's sake. Just keep all of us in prayer. Like literally, my family, my cousin, sisters. I want to give my cousins Samaya and Jamie a big shout out. I want to give my cousin Cooch a big shout out. Like they held it down like yesterday, like through their pain and trauma. We set my cousin off really well, you know, just being there, getting a hug, you know, just everything, just trying to uplift our family. These are the times, so I just want to uplift everybody that ever donated. Shout out to Ceasefire, who actually started helping push the donation campaign. Shout out to West Wednesday, who first donated before we even got to ceasefire. Just shout out to everybody. Thank you guys so much. I love you. Remember, live to love to live. I love you all. Stay tuned, guys, if you can, for the next part of the video, part 2. And let's get Ruiz in handcuffs, ASAP. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic
check. Mic check.
Love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, you guys.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
Mr. Jackson, back the fuck up.
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
He said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam, and my sister Dina and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.